urban. That's an interesting thought. I wonder what a city in the rural countryside would be like, but the world will be urban. And most of them will be thronging to cities, creating megacities, more megacities. So you have growing population, high consumption, and climate change all coming together. And we have the problems of density, waste management, clean water, pollution, clean energy. You get this. And of course, climate change, extreme weather, melting Arctics, rising water levels, and you have floods, typhoons. So we are here to discuss this. And I think with these thoughtful people, we should get some answers for urban solutions to these problems. So let me begin with the first question for Kristalina. Now, Kristalina, one of the bank's priorities is to ensure sustainable economic development and growth. Given your work in supporting so many urban development projects, can you tell us why some projects are successful, why they are successful, and what are the key ingredients that make for this success? I think the audience here, especially the mayors, would be very interested in that, in your answers. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me here. Good morning, all. What is the mood of this audience?
Good.
Good. I want to start with a small anecdote. Once we were discussing the enormity of challenges megacities face. And one of the persons in that conversation made the following comment. How can we resolve the problems of cities? And this person said, well, there are two ways. One is realistic and the other one is fantastic. The realistic way is extraterrestrials will come from space, take over megacities and solve their problems. And the fantastic is we people would do it ourselves. Luckily for us, we are in Singapore. And Singapore is a very strong example of the ability of us people to resolve the tremendous challenges we face. And it is actually a very clear illustration of the first most critical factor for success that we have found time and again in our projects. And it is the commitment, determination, and foresight of leadership. In all our projects, our partners, the mayors, the national authorities, their capacity to build policies and institutions that deliver long-term solutions in cities is what makes success. What we do from the World Bank, and this is the second very important lesson we learned, is to think of ourselves as a transmission line of knowledge that we learn in one place to benefit another. In fact, one of the places we learned is right here in Singapore. In 1965, we did a project in Singapore on water supply with the capacity to increase available clean water to citizens here from 30 liters to 132 liters. And we have done it successfully because working with the Public Utility Board, we concentrated a lot on the right tariffs as an incentive to use water wisely and on the financial viability of the utilities. So when we look into the generation of urban projects today, what is it that is worth sharing with this audience? First, we have to recognize that the trend you talked about, the increase of population living in cities, is here to stay. And unfortunately, many cities see their population grow much faster than their infrastructure, jobs available to citizens, capacity to provide services. And that acceleration of population vis-a-vis capacities of cities requires concentrated attention of the national authorities and, of course, of the city authorities, and making sure that investments are prioritized to allow the abilities of cities to grow. In other words, make sure that public money goes into cities for the right reasons, but also that public money makes cities attractive for private finance to flow. Unless we are creating competitive environment in cities, we are cutting red tape so private sector investments can flow, cities will struggle to cope with the increase of populations versus their capability. Next, we have to recognize that cities have to grow green. This is so critically important, both because of the health and well-being of citizens, in other words, dealing with the traditional pollution problems, and because of the enormity of climate change as risk for our future. We have today 9 million people dying every year because of urban pollution. This is 3 times more than people that die from HIV/AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. It is 15 times more than people who die in wars. And yet, this is not always prioritized in cities enough. And we know that cities are the highest risk for us unless they change in terms of climate. Cities consume between 60 and 80% of energy, and they produce about 60 to 80% of CO2 emissions. Cities don't change, we are doomed. We are in big trouble. But also cities, especially coastal cities, are most on the receiving end of the impact of climate change because of flooding, of hurricanes impacting cities. So building that climate consciousness of cities through the policies they introduce, through the investments they make with long-term vision is absolutely paramount. Next, we need to remember that not everybody in cities is equally positioned to benefit from the urban, quality of life in urban areas. In the world today, 1 of every 4 residents in cities live in a slum. This is 1 billion people, 250 million in Asia. It is absolutely unacceptable for us to have that accordion of opportunities, some living well in cities and some suffering the consequences of neglect. So for us in the bank, this is a major priority, slum upgrade, making sure that we create jobs that are, and accessibility of people to travel to these jobs. Finally, what we were challenged to talk about, innovation. Can we help cities to leapfrog because of accessibility to big data, artificial intelligence? Yes, we can. We see it possible. Even in the poorest of countries, and I will give an example from Haiti, just by using mobile data where people are making calls from, we can optimize urban transport and help the limited capacity of urban transport to actually follow the movement of people in a way that facilitates access to jobs. We can use the ability of blockchain to do land registration in non-questionable matter. We have done it in Georgia from the bank. We can do it everywhere. Making that combination of green, inclusive, innovative work for cities is what we finance. Let me finish with a word about the World Bank. Of course, residents of cities are going up. demand for urban lending from the bank going up. We have some $45, $50 billion in urban investments. They grow by $5 billion every year. And we are absolutely determined to make that multi-sectoral approach that combines solutions coming from experience everywhere be the guide in our action, and use our projects, our financing, to open up multiple times financing from private sector for cities to be vibrant, livable, a great place like Singapore to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristalina. That's very strong advocacy and very convincing. I next go to Zhuang Guotai, the Vice Minister from China. Vice Minister Zhuang, China has been recognized for using Chinese wisdom and Chinese proposals to strengthen your journey towards an ecological civilization. Can you share with us some of China's efforts to instill green development philosophy in your citizens, and the importance of reforms, societal reforms, towards sustainable development?
谢谢陈理事。首先也抱歉，因为我的发言要给大家带来不便，还得上这个设置。刚才陈理事提出了一个很好的问题，关于中国智慧、中国方案，包括生态文明怎么来跟大家分享。关于这个中国的智慧、中国方案呢，中国在推进这个现代化建设过程中呢，始终有一些基本的考虑。我们始终认为中国是一个发展中国家，它有10几亿的人口。如果它的发展走的也依然是一种高消耗、高排放的这种路子呢，很难持续，而且某种意义上呢，这个地球也很难承受。所以中国提出来，希望走的这个现代化之路呢，是人与自然和谐共生的现代化。具体的来说，就是要建设生态文明。关于中国的生态文明呢，在5月份，中国开了一个重要的会议，叫全国生态环境保护大会。习近平主席呢，在这个会上呢，专门对于生态文明呢做了一个系统、全面的诠释。主要有这么几点坚持。第一个呢，就是要坚持人与自然和谐共生的这种自然观。第二点坚持呢，就是要坚持绿水青山就是金山银山的绿色发展观。第三个坚持呢，就是要坚持美好的生态环境是最普惠的民生福祉、民生观。第四个坚持呢，就是要坚持山水林田湖草是一个生命共同体，叫系统观。第5个坚持呢，就是要坚持用最严密的法治和最严格的制度来保护生态环境。第6个坚持呢，就是共同来推动全球生态文明的建设，构建一个清洁美丽的世界。所以，按照这个生态文明思想呢，中国政府呢正在推动5个体系的建设，包括以生态价值为准则的生态文化体系建设，以产业的生态化和生态的产业化为主要内容的生态经济体系建设，包括以治理能力和治理体系现代化为主要内容的生态文明制度体系建设，包括以改善生态环境质量为核心的目标责任体系的建设。还有一个就是怎么有效防范生态环境风险的 生态安全体系建设。实际上这些都在推。具体的在几个方面呢，应该说还是取得比较好的进展。一个是法治体系的建设，中国不断的修改完善，按照这个生态文明的要求修改完善环境的法律，包括我们制定了环境税法，包括核安全法，包括我们正在制定的这个土壤污染防治法等等的这一系列，构建这个有利于生态文明建设的法律体系。第二个呢，是我们在推进一些制度的改革创新，包括许可证制度的建立，包括生态环境责任的追究赔偿制度，包括划定生态保护红线。我们明确要画3条线，就是城市发展的边界线、永久保护基本农田的线，还有生态保护的红线。这些呢，就是要对于这些粗放的发展呢有所约束，为一些好的生态系统呢留下一个好的空间。再有一个，大家也注意到，我们正在开展这个体制机制的建设。我们从环境保护部变成生态环境部，把相关的职能整合到生态环境部来，进一步强化这个生态环境部的这种管理能力。另外呢，应该看到，就是说中国在这个环境污染治理、环境保护方面呢，取得的成效还是比较明显的。到过北京的同志呢，大家可能会感受到北京这几年的空气质量改善还是比较明显。但是我们总体来看呢，也意识到我们的整个排放量还是比较大，我们叫高危运行，所以我们还需要努力改变这种状况。我们现在提出来要打污染防治攻坚战，包括蓝天保卫战，包括长江的这个保护修护等等，我们叫7大标志性的战役。同时呢，我们也在努力地推进这个公民的行动体系的建设。像中国现在注意发展这个共享单车的问题，包括绿色生活方式、绿色社区的推动建设，包括这个大家可能注意到，中国开车单双号，在一开始的时候老百姓很有意见，但是现在到了污染天气的时候，大家自愿的来单双号的限制，这也是大家意识到我要得到好的环境，必须有一定的付出。当然，我们也知道中国的生态环境呢，我们叫任重道远，所以我们呢也愿意和世界各国一道呢共同来学习交流。像2013年，习近平主席提出来“一带一路”的这个建设的这个思路以后呢，得到了100多个国家的响应。现在呢，中国政府也在搭建一些平台，包括绿色“一路一带”的建设，包括跟东盟之间有很多的交流的这个机制和平台。总之，我们希望中国国内要认真的、努力的推动这个生态文明建设，同时我们要积极的吸收世界各国的这种先进经验和方案，同时我们也很愿意打开这个国门，建立这些平台呢，来跟大家分享中国的这些经验。我就说这些，谢谢。
Thank you, Minister Zhuang. I must say I was in Beijing in March this year, and I certainly saw blue skies, and people tell me there are far more blue sky days in Beijing and Shanghai these days, and the other cities are trying to emulate that too. Now, I have a question for our next panelists, and this is for Chief Minister Naidu of Andhra Pradesh. Chief Minister, you have spoken of how the use of technology and infrastructure can help to achieve sustainable development goals for Andhra Pradesh and for your capital, Amaravati. I wonder if you could tell us something about that. What are your plans for Amaravati and the state of Andhra Pradesh to achieve these goals? And this morning, Prime Minister Ranil spoke of using artificial intelligence, Internet of Things connectivity to bring about greater sustainability. I am sure that will feature. answer. Please.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, friends. It is a very interesting subject. It is everybody's interest, global community. We are talking water and environment, and also today cities development also most livable place how to make it. In this, moderator asked me how we are using technology. We are all living in a wonderful time. According to me, knowledge, if you are having knowledge, if you use information technology and also IoT, Internet of Things, then anything you want to do, real time, you can get it done. According to me, we are all living in an inspiring time. Even my friend is here, Desert Systems. He is going to explain how virtual reality, we can beautify all the cities, towns, how to use technology for decision making also, for better living. He will explain all those things. In my case, what I have done, water, groundwater, surface water, everything we have computerized now. Real-time data is available with me. Rainfall is real time. Even temperature is in real time. Even air quality is in real time. Even forecast of cyclones, all these things are real time. So that I can monitor very easily. We are going to reach future how to use Internet of Things. Either sensors, all these things, sensors based, devices, CCTV cameras, drones, all these things we are using in a big way. It is giving excellent results as on today. In Andhra Pradesh, we are all feeling ours is a new state, 4 years old. I had an experience earlier, but it is a new state. Now we are developing in a big way. One area we had drought, another area we had cyclones. Now by using technologies we are able to mitigate in a big way, and at the same time knowledge. In Andhra Pradesh now, water conservation I have gone in a big way. Because of water conservation, ground has become a reservoir. If I increase 1 meter groundwater, it is equal to 90 TMs of water. 90 TMs of water is equal to 9 lakh and 1 million acres of land we can irrigate. That is the water is available. And also if you see everywhere pollution, water sewerage we are not treating, either villages or urban areas, that is contaminating total area also. Now we are going in a big way, that water how to use it. And also we are linking rivers. It is giving me excellent advantage. Another 4 or 5 years, we may not have any drought, we may not have any problem with water. Ultimately, I wanted to give water security for quality water for drinking, and also quality also we can check various levels up to the consumer point by using sensors. It will come to central computer, we can monitor very easily. Industrial water, agriculture water, all these things we are going in a big way. This is how we are able to solve the water, and also I had a specific program for every village. This is the water we have to give. Urban area, this is the water. I am confident within 2 years' time, I can sort out this problem. Majority, or we are all talking about environment. I am very happy. Environment, in India, our friend is here from China. They are ahead of us. But in India, we are having problem, but we are also moving very fast. Our government has announced Swachh Bharat. In that, within no time, we are able to address ODF, open defecation free. Now we are going ODF plus. Even technologies are available, even animal dung we can collect through uberization. So that earlier so many lakhs of people, million of people are used to carry head loads. Now every village through uberization, government is collecting, and also we are sending to the fields also for their use. That is how we are working in a big way. Even road network we are doing, solid liquid waste management everywhere. Friends, is another important issue, renewable energy. India is very fortunate to have sunlight in a big way. Now we are going solar wind energy. It is very cost effective. I am confident in future all vehicles will be electrical, and at the same time we are going for green energy. At the same time, greenery we are keeping 50%. We want to raise. If I do all these things, Andhra Pradesh will be the best place to live. CO2 neutral we want to maintain. One example I am giving you, Amaravati. It is a flagship. It is a new capital we are building today. It is a green capital. It is 8,600 square kilometers. And also capital city alone, 217 square kilometers. 3.5 million people are going to stay with this new city. There are adjacent cities. It is another 7.5 million. And also 35 billion economy. Under the same 9 cities, 27 townships, 9 anchor sectors, and 80% public transportation, 210 kilometers ring road, outer ring road, inland waterways, 80 kilometers. Here we are following a principle, 5, 10, 15 minutes principle. 5 minutes emergency services, 10 minutes social access, access, and also 15 minutes walk to work. That is the principle we are keeping. It is a garden city we are planning, water bodies, and also in a big way, inland waterways. Ultimately, we want to go 100% electrical vehicles. Thereby, I wanted to make this city CO2 neutral. If I can make CO2 neutral, it will be a city. Anybody want to settle, friends here, you can come and settle in Amaravati. Your lifespan will be extended. You will be very happy for that. Another thing I am doing, throughout Andhra Pradesh, we are going organic agriculture. Zero budget, natural farming. No fertilizer, no pesticides. Now, this year we are cultivating nearly 500,000 farmers. Ultimately, I want to go all out. Even the United Nations, they are encouraging us. It is the best pilot. This is one of the best clusters in the world. That is where we are working. If I provide CO2 neutral, and also if I can give organic food, no need to have any hospitals. We can reduce the disease burden in a big way. Quality life we can improve. This is how technology, I am telling you, it is going to change totally. At the same time, to use technology, we need leadership. And also you have to prepare leaders, not only top level, up to the last mile. If we can do this, we can do wonders. I don't have any confusion on this, I'm telling you. Resources are plenty, but only the problem, how to use resources is the biggest challenge. All mayors are here. You are the leaders. You have performed. You are performing. Use technology and have proper planning. You can do wonders. And also we can make world one of the most beautiful place to live. This is my confidence. I wish all the best for all of you. Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, Chief Minister, for that very optimistic optimistic and commitment. I think you've just made Kristalina very happy because clearly you have built a green consciousness in your growth. And with Vice Minister Zhuang's talk on China and what you've just said, I think the importance of vision and leadership becomes in sustainable solutions. Thank you. Now, we go to Mr. Stephen Dimitriou. Mr. Dimitriou, the expertise of Jacobs includes environmental and sustainable solutions so that we can achieve resource efficiency and to deal with climate change. Now, one of the paradoxes today is that we have intense rains, great floods, but you don't necessarily have water, enough water, clean water, and distribution of water in a way that benefits everybody. Can you tell us what the role of your business would be in helping to see to distribution of clean water in any city?
Yep, some big questions there. But first of all, Your Excellencies, honorable ministers, esteemed leaders and guests, I'm honored to be here this morning representing Jacobs, a global company of 77,000 professionals with a singular focus to deliver solutions for a more connected, sustainable world. We work with businesses and government agencies across more than 40 countries on critical development challenges, the ones we've talked about this morning, including urban infrastructure, water solutions, and resilience against climate and security challenges. As I noted in the United States Mayor's Conference last month in Boston, these challenges are on the top of mind of all of our clients around the world. And while the problems are similar, it's clear that the path to solving them differ widely depending upon economic, environmental, and social political variables. Yet the common chord for the strongest programs are the ones that start with a vision, a big master plan to develop infrastructure systems that integrate multiple considerations like energy, water, transportation, recreation, and commercial uses. And we have the distinct honor with working with many of the leaders here in this room who exemplify that vision. And of course, among them is Singapore's National Water Agency, PUB. Challenges of population growth, climate, environmental issues, PUB takes an approach to optimize the water life cycle, advancing conservation, replenishment, and reuse. PUB's 4 National TAPS program incorporates local catchment, regional sourcing, renewal, and desalination to ensure a reliable and resilient water supply. In supporting innovative delivery and treatment technology, we at Jacobs partner with PUB at the Tuas reclamation plant, which is co-located with the National Environment Agency's integrated waste management facility. This collaboration allows us to reap synergies where water, energy, and waste intersect with an integrated approach that yields more efficient, sustainable operations. And we could point to many other examples of approaches that deliver promising outcomes, including some of the world's most transformative and iconic infrastructure programs. Consider the Panama Canal expansion, which not only doubled its global shipping capacity, but that also incorporated an inclusive local workforce development program and innovative locks that recycle up to 60% of the water required per transit. Or Dubai's beautiful 16-mile waterway, part of a master plan that now provides a vital connection to the Arabian Gulf while accommodating public transit, residential, and recreational uses. And when it comes to mobility, we're seeing more integrated master plan developments at the world's busiest airports, connecting them more seamlessly to city centers and other transit modes, while maximizing resources and providing world-class shopping and entertainment like Singapore's Changi Airport. At Jacobs, we're helping an increasing number of cities incorporate low-carbon and smart-enabled technologies, develop more efficient and user-friendly transit systems. From Japan's pioneering development of high-speed rail to China's incomparable and enormous network of more than 9,000 kilometers of tracks. While France, Germany, and Spain round out the world's top 5 rapid rail countries, we can also point to other great initiatives around the world, such as Toronto's Metrolink system. Jacob serves as program manager for the $40 billion Metrolinx initiative that's using innovative, energy-efficient technologies to connect new and existing nodes, such as regional express rail, light rail, and rapid bus lines. Just as transformative are the programs at Jacobs that we're supporting to improve resilience in every region of the world, delivering comprehensive infrastructure and intelligent solutions that help communities adapt, mitigate, and recover from flooding and other climate threats such as cybersecurity risks and biological hazards. These range from the world's largest resilience programs that's reinforcing 175 kilometers along England's Thames estuary where 1.3 million people live and work, to the Central Pacific Republic of Kiribati, where planned elevation improvements will help to protect over 100,000 residents from tidal flooding. And we now have the ability to combine real-time geospatial data and digital intelligence with transformative engineering and structural solutions that enable us to detect, defend, and prevent against threats like never before. For example, we have proven results with infrastructure hybrids incorporating gray-built infrastructures with natural features like dunescaping, native vegetation, and fisheries, which enhance flood protection, while contributing positively to economic and property values. And in the United States, we're managing a massive sediment diversion program to restore and reinforce the Louisiana coastline, aided with oyster beds to address critical environmental, economic, and cultural resilient challenges. So from our perspective at Jacobs, we've never been better equipped to provide innovative solutions for more converging challenges of urbanization, resource scarcity, and climate and security threats. Working along leaders like all of you, we see what's possible when visionary leadership, inclusive collaboration, and integrated plans come together. Like Singapore has facilitated for us today, hosting this meeting, bringing delegates of 3 summits together. We learn from one another, and together we propel change for the better, change that improves the lives and livelihoods of people everywhere and truly delivers the promise of a more connected, sustainable world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Demetriou. Now we go to Mr. Charles, Mr. Bernard Charles. Dassault Systems is working on Virtual Singapore, on that project, and you help planners visualize what they are trying to plan for the future. Can you tell us how digital technologies can help us plan for more sustainable mobility solutions? We've not touched on transport yet.
Well, thank you for the question. I think if all the Meyer in the audience were pilot of, I think I would like to inform you that your plane would never take off. Because if I have to do the metaphor between how cities are developed and how airplanes are developed, the city is the conjunction of so many complexity, which are coming from many aspects. An intrinsic complexity of what the city is about, but also a complexity resulting from the economy complexity. Because you find cars, transportation, trains, buildings, energy center, waste system. So the progress of each sectors of the economy are indeed contributing to the progress of how a city can be handled. And if you look at the last 30 years, and you get your inspiration from other sectors, you can see that last year, for example, in civil aircraft, there was 0 accident in 2017. 0 accident and more traffic. Why so? Because, because basically that industry over the last 30 years has massively used digitization not to improve productivity, as one could say, but to master complexity, to predict, and make things right first time. In cities, that does not happen anywhere in the world. Why so? Because you are forced to make decisions being blind. And why? Because the representation of the city has many defects. One, usually it's flat. Usually there is no correlation between the different services of the cities. And it's not about organizational aspect only between agencies. It's just the capacity to represent the complexity. And if airplanes were done this way, they would never fly. So with Singapore, to address your question, the first thing we want to do together, and also with my friend, Chief Minister, is to really make significant progress to manage complexity. Managing complexity is about making sure that all stakeholders see the same thing. But when they don't see the same thing, you cannot have good decisions. So being able to observe what exists is one first condition. So I am astonished in many cities the spending done with IoT, data, and so on, but nobody knows what to do with it because you cannot relate them to the way the city works. So one bet that we are doing at Dassault System is that one day we will be able to represent the city in such kind of accuracy that, like for an airplane, you can exactly understand how it works. And I believe we are very close to make the distance between the V, the virtual world, and the R, the real world, to zero. That's one point. The second point is about seeing, but the second point is about simulating. It's about what if I do that versus I do this. And this is the arbitration challenge. And in most cities today, optimization are done by silos. Well, first of all, because it's impossible to do better. So that's a reality. But there is a second reality, which is the systems are totally disconnected. Now, is it a technology question? Yes, it is in some way, but I think it's a scientific question. It's the challenge of being able to do the modeling of the world. Well, I have a good news for you. A city is less complex than human body. That's good news. Far less complex. More complex than a plane, but less complex than one person. And I think we are doing so much for brain, heart, vascular, that we believe those technologies can be used for cities to really interconnect disciplines who wants to work together but cannot work together because they don't understand each other. So visibility, what if, which means simulation. And then, of course, the permanent connection between what is happening in the real world and what is happening in the virtual world. So, in some way, it's not a secret. It's not so complex. It's about the bet of saying that, yes, we can create a platform that can help people to see the same thing. By the way, 3D is useful for that. My mom does not understand the kitchen if I show her a drawing, but she does understand her kitchen if it's 3D modeled. So, understanding, complexity, multidiscipline correlation, this world at the beginning of the 21st century will change because what has been used in other sectors, most of the others where, by the way, you should notice that the architecture and construction are 30 years later than any other sectors. It's more than 30 years behind aerospace. Most of buildings are still constructed with drawings. Think about it, just one thing of your city, not to speak about infrastructure. So this is happening, this is the bet we are doing on its hard journey with NRF and Singapore, but we are also doing it now. This afternoon we will announce it here with Chengdu in China, with Andhra Pradesh, and I think that is an unstoppable wave to change the perspective about how you, pilot of your cities, will see, arbitrate, and predict when you make decisions, that those decisions are helping citizens to have a higher quality of services and higher quality of life. That's what we do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. I have a follow-up question, but I won't ask it now. I'll ask it if nobody else asks a question. My final speaker on the panel, but not the least important, would be His Excellency Dr. Thani from the United Arab Emirates, Minister of Climate Change and the Environment. Dr. Thani, the United Arab Emirates is seen to be a modernizing leader in your region, very willing to embrace technology. UAE is an arid country. How are you using technology and innovation for sustainable development? And if you could, can you tell us something about your national climate change plan and the ideas of green growth in the plan, and how you mitigate the effects of climate change?
Sure. Thank you so much, Professor Chan. It's my pleasure to be here at Singapore with very distinguished speakers and panelists today, speaking about the climate change and the urbanization within the UAE. If you allow me, I'm going to go over 6 pillars throughout my interventions, namely on energy, water, environment, waste, sustainable cities, as well as the awareness, which is very crucial. But before I start digging into the details of those sectors, UAE is almost 46 years old, and throughout the last 46 years, the leaders and the founders of UAE has been always taking into consideration the environmental aspects in most of our developments and the sustainable projects. So far, we're going toward and taking the same forward steps. We have the National Climate Change Plan 2050. We have the 2030 Green Agenda. We do have global platforms like the World Government Summits, as well as the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Weeks. And at the same time, we support the nations and the developing countries around the world with soft and grant funds to ensure that they use some of the experience that we earned within the UAE. So if you allow me to start with the energy sector, we last year announced the UAE 2050 energy plan, and it has 50% of the energy plan to be coming from the clean energy. That's going to have a huge economical value to the country. We're expecting saving of 700 billion dirhams by 2050, and that's going to have a huge carbon reduction when it comes from the power sector, and we're talking about almost 70% reduction from the power sector. Yes, we've been doing excellent job so far for the last 10 years when it comes to renewables. The last prices when it comes to producing power from renewables reached very competitive prices. We're talking about almost less than 2.42 cents per kilowatt hour, which is very competitive to the even producing power from the natural gas. Moving forward, we're going to continue deploying new technologies, and we're welcoming the partnerships from private sector and the sector. Moving to the water sector, which is very crucial, as you all know that we're coming from very scarce water region, and the water is one of the challenges like many other countries. We've been working aggressively in the desalination plants, and we're moving slowly from the conventional thermal desalinations toward more efficient technologies like the ROs. And we've been trying and experimenting the usage of renewables in the desalinations through our largest renewable energy investors, Masdar, as well as the Dubai Electricity and Water Authorities. And the results for the last 2 years is very promising. We're talking about almost 75% improvement on the efficiency when it comes to desalinating water using the renewables. And the savings, we're expecting the minimum to be not less than 550 millions just by deploying such technologies. Moving forward with the technologies, when it comes to water, we do artificial water and water seedings, cloud seedings, and we've been successful doing that for the last few years. Yes, it's very environmental technologies. We're ensuring that any materials that we're using will not be harmful to the environment. The research is still going on, and the results which we're seeing is very positive and having a huge impact on the cloud seedings which we've been harvesting lately. Speaking about the waste, which is a global challenge, not only to the UAE, we're one of the highest producer when it comes to waste. We're talking about almost 1.7, 1.8 kilos per day per person, which is very high in terms of the average. We do have very aggressive targets. We're planning to reduce our solid waste by 75% by 2021, and there are so many projects have been announced lately, and we're going to announce a few in the upcoming months. We're using the waste to energy technologies, the RDF technologies, and we're exploring with the waste experts and companies to see how can we move even further in our targets. The fourth sector which I want to touch on is the environment. And the environment is very crucial in reducing our carbon footprint. And I'm going to just highlight a couple of excellent examples which we've been doing is the plantation of mangroves in the UAE. And based on the latest studies which we did, the amount of carbon storage which has been done through the mangroves has been reaching more than 41 million tons of CO2. Which means that the plantation is really paying off. The reduction which was aimed from such plantations, and we know the environmental impact, the environmental positive impact of the mangroves is there because of the marine life around the mangroves. There's so many environmental projects which we've been doing, but I want to highlight the mangroves as it has a huge positive impact on our carbon reduction. The fifth element which I want to touch on is the awareness and youth. The awareness is very crucial, and for the last 2 years we've been taking the theme of sustainable production and consumptions principles on board. We're encouraging our industries, we're encouraging the publics and all the various stakeholders within the country to ensure that they're part of the sustainable and usage-friendly of our resources. The youth engagement is very crucial, and we do have so many initiatives when it comes to engaging the youth and bring them on board to ensure that we build a very educated, aware generation which is going to take this topic forward. We're really proud of what we have done so far. Yes, there are so many gaps, there are so many things to be done further, but we feel that we're moving toward the right direction so far, and we welcome any new opportunities, any new ideas which we can take on board to the country. Again, thank you so much for the invitations, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tani, for sharing. Now, we have come to the end of the first part of the session, which is this round of questions. We are now throwing the session to the audience and inviting questions from the floor. Now, you may put up your hands to indicate if you want to ask a question, yes, I see someone there, and that's very efficient. Thank you very much. Can you speak loudly into the mic? Thank you.
Yes, if you can hear me, my name is Glenn Diger. I'm a professor of engineering practice at the University of Michigan in the U.S. I think we all know the challenges in front of us, but we also need vision and optimism. And I would be interested in the panelists if they could each list the one thing that makes them the most optimistic about the future.
Well, this is a request for each one of the panelists to mention one thing that makes them optimistic about the future. Shall we begin with you, Kristalina?
What makes me most optimistic is the bottom-up energy that is coming, including from the communities of mayors, when it comes down to tackling climate change. We see cities coming up very strongly on practical solutions in terms of embracing CO2 emissions. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Clearly, there was a bit of mic problem. So let me just go back.
Summarize.
Yes. What makes me most optimistic is the bottom-up energy that comes from mayors and businesses. The mayors in the audience, raise your hand. How many of you are here? Mayors, bravo to you. The embracing CO2 emission reduction strategies, very practical, and also building resilience in cities in a very effective way, even in poor neighborhoods, even in slums. So we people are putting forward our best foot on climate, even if sometimes at the level of governments the support is a little underwhelming.
Thank you. Mr. Chuang?
Thank you. 我给讲一个小故事。最近在中国有一个湖南电视台上播一个节目，叫《向往的生活》。这个节目呢，邀请很多中国的这些老的、年轻的明星到乡村去生活。这个节目呢，引起很大的反响，大家都在看。有两个方面呢，让我感觉到一种希望。一个是明星去了以后呢，这些平时他们都很忙，都城市生活，到了那地方以后呢，大家有一个共同的感受，这就是我向往的生活。这些电视观众看完以后呢，也意识到说我们需要有这样的生活。所以从中呢，我也看到一个希望，大家越来越注意到生态环境、自然的重要性。这样呢，大家会更加努力的去保护环境、保护自然。谢谢。
Chief Minister.
Friends, one single question, if you see all problems, we can tackle very efficiently, provided there is proper leadership. Leaders should have a vision. Everything is available now. By seeing technology and innovations, knowledge, technology, Internet of Things, you can go up to real-time decision making, data analytics, big data, predictive analytics, so many things. Ultimately, environment and also water, any issue for that matter. Today in Singapore, they are using technologies in a big way. They are able to find proper solutions. They are using resources at most efficiently. And at the same time, leader consistently follow it up. If you start and leave, no results will come. Ultimately, outcomes are important. Ultimately, how we are going to produce outcomes after some time, how it is going to become a culture, a habit. If you do that, then everything is possible. That is what Singapore is doing. If all of us will do, then every place will be the most livable place. Everything is available today. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much. Stephen?
Yeah. So what makes me excited about the future is the way global talent is connecting and delivering solutions. I really think compared to 10 years ago, and we see it at Jacobs, is the way we're able to bring resources from all over the world to connect and deliver solutions locally, no matter where we are in the world. And I think that global talent combined with technology is going to really make the future very exciting for all of us.
Well, I will say transparency, the first element, and of course the fact that with all the Fab Labs, innovators, there is a new social citizen and people responsibility to contribute to innovation, and that's the big hope.
Thank you. I believe that most of the stuff have been said by my colleagues, but I would say the one thing which we see as the main element which keeps us really optimistic is the changing the mindset which we see all over the world, that no one is waiting the other to do something. Everyone is stepping in and moving ahead and doing their own part. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there seems to be some consensus here that, something is moving from the ground. It's bottom up, mindsets are changing, there's technology. It's great. I hope you're optimistic. The next question, please.
Good morning. My name is Sahana Singh, and I'm the editor of Asian Water Magazine. So my question is for Shri Chandrababu Naidu. It's really heartening to have such a forward-looking Chief Minister who is so eager to bring in carbon neutrality, modern methods of water and waste management. So that's I'd like to appreciate that. But I'd also like to ask a question whether you are taking any inspiration from history, the rich history and civilizational values of Andhra Pradesh. Because if you go back, we see that Andhra Pradesh was ruled by the Satavahanas, and we had great rulers like Gautami Putra Satkarni, and even your capital city is named after an ancient Indian city called Amaravati, which had beautiful structures, beautiful buildings, some of which can be seen only in British Museum today. So I would like to know if you're going to take any inspiration from the ancient Indian knowledge systems, the knowledge of architecture, environment, and traditional rainwater harvesting, for example. So I'd like to know if you would, because are we going to see another urban concrete jungle in Andhra Pradesh with ugly buildings which we see in every other part of the world? That's my question.
As you rightly mentioned, we are a great legacy. Amaravati is also a sweet name. Even Amaravati in Indian mythology, it is the capital of Indra, who is the ruler of angels. That is the mythology. So I wanted to build one of the best city. To build a city, it is very difficult also. After bifurcation, I don't have resources. Then it is a mandate for me to build a capital. Then I thought, very innovative idea I gave to my people. I appealed farmers, why can't you come with a land pooling idea? You give me your land, I will develop it. After development, 25 to 30% of land I will give back to you. You will get 3-4 times better price what you are enjoying today, minimum. Then people believed me. I quoted Singapore example, and also Singapore government is supporting me, that is what I told them. Then they agreed, then we are working in that. If you see today, ancient legacy is one, and also modernization is another. And also you have to protect nature. Here what we are doing, our friend has rightly mentioned, clean energy, solar, wind energy. It is a blessing for us. If you go for all vehicles, electrical vehicles, pollution can be controlled. And also sustainable buildings, how to go for green buildings, everything we are working. One is we are keeping modern technologies and also historical things, and I want to protect culture also. Ultimately, this city will be happiest city. We are making happiness as an index. That is how we are working. Again, happiness will come through historical things, cultural, and also so many things we have to revive again. Then only it will give happiness. Technology will give so much of advantage if you use properly. Technology, if you misuse, it is miserable for anybody. Nowadays, all youngsters we are seeing, they are adopted technology, they are addicted to technology. Then all tension, stress, all mental problems, so many things are coming. This is where we must be cautious. But if you use properly technology for all these things, it will happen wonders. My case, Amaravati, I am benchmarking one among top 5 in the world. I will be very happy. 100% we are confident we will build this city. I am assuring you, because technology is available, human resources are available, innovations are coming. Our friends are saying, same money India we are spending, benefits are not coming. If we use at most efficiently by using innovations and technologies, we can do wonders.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Minister. I think there's a question there, please. Please identify yourself. It's on. Oh, not very loud.
Thank you very much. My name is Mohamed Mezgani. I am the Secretary General of the International Association of Public Transport. So a lot has been said about water, energy, waste management, environment, but not much about mobility and transport. I think it's important, it was mentioned, that we focus on technology. I mean, you mentioned Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence. So these are important aspects, but technology will never succeed to transport people. So it is good to have it because it will make more efficient and more demand responsive services. But we need large public transport infrastructure. We need to develop mass transit and integrate it with new mobility solutions with on-demand transport. Especially we are here in Singapore, and under the leadership of the Land Transport Authority, Singapore is one of the leaders for as far as mobility is concerned. So I would like to hear the view of the panel about their views about transport in the city. Thank you.
I'm going to direct it first to Bernard Charles, because I had a follow-up question when you talked of your virtual Singapore. You know, because you can visualize options for transport policies, but how do you nudge people to choose those options? And can you please try?
We did a very interesting simulation here with Virtual Singapore. We were asked to really look at the flow about how students are going to school, on which means do they use to go to school. And I think it was a very strong reveal for the policymaker to discover, you know, what was the path, the flow, because it helps to do multimodal optimization. In fact, we discover quite an anecdotal story that the young generation would go to the park, so they would go the wrong way to live, and the elder generation would go somewhere else. So multimodal transportation, it's about understanding how the city is working and how people are using this multimodal aspect. I would also like to notice that's about how it's used. There is a revolution going on in transportation on all aspects. I think the last mile delivery, for example, is going to be, we have 500 new e-mobility project going on, whether it's drones, electrical airplanes, of course, obviously electrical robots, cars, but it will become robots this is happening today. and those programs are going on, and they are changing the landscape about how those services could be provided. Our platform is used for this because this is about cyber, not cyber security, but cyber in terms of system availability within city. And the third point I would relate to is the fact that aside of metro, the city has always been seen and observed in 2D. And there are a lot of misuse of the fact that it's a space. And therefore, the Z dimension is very important and could be a significant factor to improve underground services. Not many cities understand the underground architecture. Things are there because they are there for years. Underground could be used for many set of services which are not necessarily people-centric, but serving people, but not people underground. And those things are new solutions which need to be evaluated much more seriously. So, how it works, new mobility equipment on robots, and the third thing is the city is a volume, not a flat thing.
Does anyone want to answer that? Do you? Okay. We'll get another view.
This is a very good point. For cities to be green and to be inclusive, public transport is absolutely essential. It is also essential if we want to be more serving to gender equality, as we know that in some countries, in some developing countries, women stay out of the workplace because they cannot safely go to work. So for us at the World Bank, investing in public transport is absolutely critical to make cities more inclusive and to make them cleaner. And a big chunk of our portfolio goes for rail. Actually, the point that was made, making it possible to reach from one point to another very quickly, on the basis of using big data to understand how the city actually functions. This is absolutely critical. We have to look into the future when the automobile is going to be something very different, yes. But between now and then, we have to make sure that cities function. If there is no connectivity, if there is no mobility, people don't go to jobs, they stay poor. And that is, the point you make is absolutely critical for us to integrate in the way we think of investing in cities.
Oh, I'm glad to see so many questions. There's one right at the back of the room, there's one here, and there's one in the middle. I would give the floor to the right-hand side, and then the back of the room, then the third question, and I think that's it. Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. My question is to the Chief Minister.
Can you speak up?
My question is to the Chief Minister of Entrepreneurship. Namaste, Chief Minister. I have the privilege recently to visit your state, and I've got a question about...
Louder, please.
Later. Okay, I had the pleasure to visit your state in entrepreneurship. My name is Dr. Jeremy Novak, and I'm from Southern Cross University. You touched on the renewable energy and how you are implementing solar, wind, and other renewable energy sector. I would like to know, how are you building resilience within inside the community and also within inside these critical infrastructure organisations? Thank you.
Did you catch the question?
Yeah, little bit. As you rightly mentioned, future is going to change, especially in developing countries. Even Gulf countries also, even Dubai, like this, these are all the countries, it is going to change with clean energy, renewable energy. In Andhra Pradesh, if you see, as on today we are procuring power at the rate of 5 rupees 50 paisa per unit. Now latest solar energy is coming 2 rupees 70 paisa. If we do some more reforms, then it will come around 2 rupees. This is a very interesting combination. Then you can go for electrical vehicles under so many applications, how to use energy. It is a clean energy, pollution free, and also it won't generate pollution for other applications also. That is the beauty of that. We are as on today around 20% renewable energy. Now I am stopping total thermal, nuclear, all other energies. I am going only solar energy or wind energy. And at the same time there is a peak load factor balancing, grid stability. That is the biggest issue. Solar will come in the morning, wind will come in the evening. How to balance all these things throughout the day, 24 hours application. That we are doing. Storage also we are going in a big way, but storage is costly. Even some people idle under solar, they are also balancing. Various applications are coming. I am confident in future storage will come, then smart power grids will come. Then automatically transmission losses will be nil, and also local power, local demand we can meet. That is the day it is going to come with smart power grids.
Thank you. There was a question. I'll give right at the back first because I think they are usually missed out. There's someone at the back who can't see you, but...
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Anupma and I'm the publisher for Water Digest magazine from India. I request a question from CM Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. Sir, is our government is also planning to have new water of Singapore as a successful story, there an implementation of the same in India as well? Do you think the acceptability of the same and using of treated used water for potable purpose anytime soon in Andhra Pradesh?
No, I am very happy for that question. That is how in Singapore they made an excellent product. If you see this new water in Singapore, it is a treated water. First glass Singapore PM take, then he said new water is not dangerous, everybody can have it. That is how it has come. Now we are going how to treat solid waste management, liquid waste management. This is the biggest area. Now people are coming forward to use this water for gardens and also for other purposes also. Now we are going waste to wealth. Everything we are thinking it is waste. From garbage we are creating energy. That plants we are having 7 to 8 plants. It is working very well now coming. And also from garbage we are going for conversion to compost, which is useful for the fertilizer for the fields. These various issues are coming. Water is very crucial. In future there will be wars only on water, not on other issues. In between villages, between states, between countries, it is going to happen. But so many ways. Some countries are going desalination. In India there is abundant water in some parts of the country. We are not using properly. Ultimately, whenever there is a necessity, people are forced to go for innovations. Even India is not exception for that. That stage, when it is going to come, we have to watch.
I agree, Chief Minister. It's the necessity that will
Yes.
force adoption.
Yes.
Yes. There's a question in front from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Ranil.
The question is to the Honorable Chief Minister. My name is Bhaskar and I'm from Coimbatore. The World Bank chief mentioned two pertinent points. Now, there are huge investments required on the infrastructure sector. And how do we make it attractive for the private investors to also chip in so that the cities are able to reach their goals faster? Now, in India, the SPV is formed under Smart Cities Mission. They are meant to attract the private investment. The central government gives a lot of grants. The state government also gives its share. That has to be used to leverage as equity and make the private partners to participate in the holding company, what we call as Smart City Limited. And that would have really given us much headway. In fact, the Urban Development Ministry told me.
Please?
Yeah, the question is, why is it that not happening? The government at the local level lack leadership, and the second point is they are using that as another department of the government rather than using it as an independent company, a corporate company, to reach our goals.
As you rightly mentioned, India also is moving public-private partnership in all programs, not only one program. In urban area, in Amaravati for drinking water or otherwise for everything, we are going for private investment in a big way. Somewhere we are going different models, either PPP model or hybrid annuity. Some money will give, some money even for roads we are going same thing. Under so many areas, even service operators we are engaging, even cleaning is service operators, even drainage maintenance is service operators. Like that we are going even street lights. We are going now LED bulbs. One innovative idea, I am telling all of you, all mayors are here. In Andhra Pradesh, we had cyclone 3 years back, 2.5 years back. One city was totally destroyed with street lights, even street poles, everything, electrical poles. Then I had a brainstorming session. Somebody suggested me, why can't we go LED bulbs? Then immediately I asked them what is the saving. Then I negotiated 30% what I am spending today I have saved. Remaining 70% I have given to them for 10 years maintenance without spending one pie. What I am spending today I have saved, 30%, remaining money I have done. All urban areas we have gone, rural areas LED bulbs we are going. If entire country is adopting now, if everybody will do 35 to 40,000 crores saving, that is nearly 6 to 7 billion US dollars in one saving, that is energy saving. So these are all innovative ideas are coming. Ultimately, any better service for the citizen, we have to go public-private partnerships, various formats. It may be outsourcing, it may be PPP, it may be BOT, so many things. We are moving in that direction. It is giving very good results.
Thank you. The last question will go to the middle of the room.
Henny Christensen from the Rumble Group. Thank you for a very inspiring dialogue today. I believe that most of us here in the room that we're really inspired and will go back and do what we can to reach this targets and objectives you're talking about. But when we walk out of the door here, we will also face that there are other challenges in the world when we are talking water resilience and sanitation here. Whereas, for instance, also the health sector, which is also encouraged a lot of efforts from the cities. How will you in the panel ensure that we get these topics here within climate resilience and also sanitations on the top of the agenda?
Well, this is for the panel, so I'm going to try and give some of the other speakers a chance to answer. I wonder if Mr. Zhuang would like to answer how China would try to keep, the issue of resilience, sanitation on top, given that you have so many issues on your agenda, and I think China has many issues on its agenda. How would you keep the focus on resilience, sustainability, sanitation?
问到这个问题呢，我想先说一下，刚才有一位先生问到交通的问题，谈到这个城市交通的合理设计，但是里边有一个重要的前提，就是区域的规划。我们经常遇到一个过度的功能分区以后，往往是早晨有大量的人流往城市的中心区、行政区去走。到了下午下班的时候，有大量的人流往外走，导致了很多交通的问题。所以这个空间的规划呢，千万不要任性，也不要过度。过度的分区呢，会导致这样一个人流的问题，给交通带来了拥挤，包括污染的排放这些问题。我们也知道，最近新加坡跟中国呢，在天津开展一个生态城的建设，里边呢就比较好的解决了这些问题。在更加宏观的层面上呢，中国政府呢现在强调一个叫做五位一体，怎么把政治的、经济的、社会的、文化的和生态环境呢作为五位一体来进行合理的布局和建设。当然这个难度会很大。我们知道一开始是环境与发展怎么协调，再后来在南非的约翰内斯堡会议上提出三大支柱的问题，社会的、经济的、环境的。到现在呢，中国探索一个五位一体的，这些呢都需要有一个强有力的领导。我们感受就是为了防止任性，为了实现可持续发展，一个需要有强有力的领导，一个要有法治的支持，再有一个很重要，要有强有力的技术体系的支持。谢谢。
Now, I'm going to pass this to Stephen Dimitro, and I'm going to let Dr. Tani have the last word on resilience and how your country, in fact, keeps the focus on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that all the questions that came up over the last 45 minutes are really connected. And that's why I think the importance of a master plan, a vision for a whole city or region is critical, because whether it's sanitation or mobility or water or climate threat, these are all linked, integrated, and what gives me excitement and hope about the future is the fact that most big cities and mid-sized cities are all taking a step back and developing this master plan for a smart city which incorporates all of these issues that got brought up.
Thank you. Dr. Tani.
Thank you, Professor Chan. When it comes to resilience here in the UAE, it's been included in our 2050 climate adaptation plan. There are so many things which has already been taken in consideration. For example, when it comes to infrastructure, we have already been implementing this for the last few years, that any project which is very close to the coastal area has to be above the sea by 1.2 meters. So when it comes to agriculture, we've been trying so many breeding ways and some of the seeds which can be adaptable and resilient to the various weather conditions that we have.
Digested with food waste from the waste to energy plant to increase biogas generation. In fact, it produces biogas not just enough to be able to provide energy for both plants together, but also to export energy. Nation will raise land productivity, always a concern for very small Singapore, and also use circular economy principles to reduce our emissions and maximize resource recovery. Water is also a good example of how we are growing our efforts in Singapore to stimulate and share innovation around the challenges and opportunities facing cities around the world. Today we have 200 public and private R&D centers with over 14,000 people working on water alone. There is also much potential in the ASEAN Smart Cities Network, which we launched earlier this year. It's a collaborative platform of 26 ASEAN cities which are working towards the common goal of smart and sustainable urban development. Beyond making the most of empower communities and develop the social capital, the social networks that we essentially call capital, that helps ensure that urban innovations have broadly felt benefits amongst the population. Medellin in Colombia is a well-known example of how the city government engaged multiple stakeholders in its projects and interventions to develop urban inclusivity, including the hillside escalators and cable cars and other public transport modes that especially benefited its low-income neighborhoods, many of which are on the hills community. The Seoul Metropolitan Government set up citizen committees and smart digital platforms such as the M-voting system to allow participants to voice their opinions, deliberate issues, and build consensus for city-level solutions. The Seoul Plan 2030, Seoul's urban master plan, also involved a representative 100-member citizen group, what they call Dong-level community planning programs. Consultation and involvement is part and parcel of the planning process. We are also developing new ways for local stakeholders to work together. An initiative now being developed is Virtual Singapore. Virtual Singapore is a digital twin of the entire physical Singapore, mapped out in 3D and based on real-time dynamic data. It has many potential local upgrading projects, neighborhood upgrading projects, will change the landscape and to ensure that we plan for barrier-free routes for senior citizens and knowing the exact gradient of the route. JTC Corporation, which is in charge of our industrial estates, planning tools in Virtual Singapore that will enable it to involve stakeholders more actively, businesses as well as people living around the estates, in the design of our industrial estates, including the road networks and public transport amenities.
Full opening address. Ambassador-at-Large, Ministry of Foreign Affairs Singapore, and Chairperson SIWW Water Leaders Summit, Professor Tommy Koh, who will lead the next session. Professor Koh, please.
Thank you, beautiful MC. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Chandrababu Naidu, Ministers, Buya. It's a special we are celebrating the 10th Annual Water Week, the Water Leaders Summit, and the Global City Summit. Two themes of our chairmanship are resilience and innovation. It is special because Singapore has designated this year, 2018, as the year of climate action for large emitters next year. These actions are taken because of our commitment to harm the environment, destroy our ecosystem, kill our biodiversity. We are threatening human civilization on Earth. Cities are important because over half of humanity now live in cities. And cities drive our civilization and our economies. Human beings can't survive without water. And one of the goals of the UN and ourselves is to have universal access for all human beings to clean drinking water and safe and proper sanitation. We have made some progress on water. According to the World Health Organization, in the last 25 years, 2.6 billion people have gained access to clean drinking water. But we must not become complacent, because according to WHO, over 2 billion people still do not have clean drinking water in their homes. The situation on this sanitation is a disaster. Of the 7 billion people on this earth, over half, 4.5 billion people do not have access to safe and proper sanitation. For this reason, issue at the UN General Assembly and inscribe it on its agenda. The UN has in turn designated 19 November each year as World Toilet Day. I would now like to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker. Ranil Wickremesinghe is one of Sri Lanka's most respected and experienced political leaders. He had served twice before as Prime Minister, so this is his third time as Prime Minister. As all of you know, Sri Lanka has gone through a 26-year-long civil war. The country is now at peace, and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has the challenging job of bringing about reconciliation among his people in order to achieve inter-ethnic and inter-religious harmony. He's also seeking to build the economy and produce jobs for his people. He's also trying to rebuild the damaged infrastructure, build new infrastructure, and to transform the beautiful towns and cities of Sri Lanka into safe, efficient, livable, and sustainable cities. Sri Lanka is very fortunate to have him as a Prime Minister at this critical moment. And it now gives me very great pleasure to invite Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to address us.